Hello and welcome to another IDEC web video. This video is the IDEC update for the 2016-2017 school year. In this video, we are going to be starting with some opening comments about our teacher leaders and data entry, talk about school assignments then we'll go over updating your teachers and school rosters for the year. Just a few notes about payments then on to some notes about data entry. And then we're going to be spending some time talking about a new on-demand report, and then we'll finish it up talking about passwords. So first of all, we just want to say here at IDEC, thank you, teacher leaders, you guys rock. And we don't say this in any joking manner because we know you guys are working hard for us out in the field. And to just prove that you are working out very hard out in the field, we've looked at some data, and I wanted to share this data with you. Now, this is table 1.2 from the Reading Recovery and Evaluation of the 4-year I3 Scale Up. And I just want to point out a couple numbers here. First is the number of teachers trained during the grant, and that is a total of 3,747. And I don't know about you guys, but that is a large number of teachers to train. So I know that teacher leaders, we know here at IDEC that teacher leaders are working very hard, and that those teachers in turn worked with 62,000 reading recovery students and an additional over 325,000 students in other roles. So IDEC says thank you for your hard work. And this thank you comes from Jeff Breimer-Bashore, the Director of IT and Operations, our Systems Manager, Dwayne Chandler, Richard Terry, Systems Analyst here at IDEC, and last but not least, Julie Wolf, the voice of the Help Desk, our Help Desk Coordinator. So let's get right into it. Let's talk a little bit about school assignments. You can already log on to the website and check which schools are doing tested, not instructed, and random sample. So remember, schools flip-flop each year. So if you were doing random sample last year, if a school was doing random sample last year, they will be doing tested, not instructed this year. If they were doing tested, not instructed last year, they will be doing random sample this year. And just to reiterate, the whole tested, not instructed category is not an I3 thing. It is still going. It's a reading recovery thing. So don't let that surprise you. For schools collecting DLL data, don't forget that we need to have your DLL teachers collect an additional random sample for DLL students. And you can check these before we've received any payment. So teacher leaders can log on to the website, go to the data page, and then click on the View School Lists button, and it will tell you which schools are in which categories. So let's move on to talking about updating teacher and school rosters. Once again, you can do this before we have received any payments. So you can go on and do it right now. So we recommend not putting this off. Just go ahead, log on, update your rosters of teachers in schools. If you have a couple teachers you're unsure that will be joining or not, that's fine. You can add them later. The registry will let you come back later in the school year, later in the fall, and add any new teachers that might have joined. Moving on to costs for data entry, those are unchanged for the 2016-17 school year. It'll still be $350 site setup fee and $50 per teacher. Now we're moving on to data entry. So there are no changes to the questions this year for reading recovery data entry, so I'll wait here and wait for the applause. Okay, so and we will be having be publishing our NDEC question catalog here in the next couple weeks with the questions, but there are no changes to those. We will be changing literacy lessons a little bit. We'll be adding a few questions to the exit page and a few other minor tweaks. Once again, you will find those in the IDEC question catalog. Now, what we are really excited to talk about is a new on-demand report that will be available when the website opens for the new school year on August the 8th. It is the new OS Scores by School on-demand report, and I am going to drag a screen over here onto the video, and we are going to look at an example, at a report example here. So I'm going to go. So I am going to select now the OS Scores by Schools report, and we are going to go over the design of the report here real quick. Up at the top you have several options. You can view this report for both reading recovery or for DLL data. So if you wanted to view it for DLL, you could select DLL, and then you have to click the View Report button to make it change. Now in my example, I have no DLL data, which is why it's coming up blank. I am going to switch back to reading recovery. Now, for this example, we're going to, like I said, the report starts off with the OS total score. And I know some of you are not comfortable with using the OS total score, but let me just explain it like this. I think the best way to understand the OS total score is to think of it as like a standardized test score. It just represents the child's overall mastery of literacy. It doesn't tell us where the children are weak or strong, but it just gives an idea of sort of the overall mastery of a child's of literacy skills. So the higher the OS total score, the more mastery of literacy they have. If you need to drill down and look at where they are weak and strong, you can do that by going and looking at the other tasks of the observation survey. So like I said, we start with the OS total score here, and you'll notice that this chart has two dashed lines on it, a lower line and a higher line. So the lowest black dashed line represents the average fall OS total score for reading recovery full program children in the United States. So that's discontinued and recommended children. So this is where, on average, our full program children started in the United States on the OS total score. The highest black dashed line represents the average year-end OS total score for reading recovery full program children in the United States. So this is where, on average, our full program children end the school year. So now there is one bar for each school on this report. Now the names of the schools appear at the bottom of this report. Now to protect the identity of these schools, I'm not showing them, but the names of the schools, you can kind of see the last letters poking through here. This is where the school names are, and you're able to scroll down and view the school names if you want to right there. So there's one bar for each school. The bottom, so let's look at this, say this school right here. The bottom of each bar represents the average fall OS total score for that school for the full program children. So at this school, the full program children started right here at the start of the school year. The top of the bar represents the average year-end OS total score for that school for full program children. So in this school, they ended right here. So the length of the bar represents the amount of gain made from fall to year end. So the longer the bar, the more gain was made. So you can see that this short bar, that this school didn't make nearly as much gain as this school at the other end over here. And then the numbers at the bottom here actually show the amount of gain that that school has made. So there you go, a quick explanation. Oh, and then one more thing. The bars are ordered from left to right, from the least amount of gain. So the leftmost is the least amount of gain all the way to the right over here, which had the most amount of gain. Okay, so from shortest bar to the longest bar. Now, like I said earlier, we could look at this for different tasks of the observation survey. So for example, we could look at letter identification and view this report, and you can see how the changes, you can see the gains here for the letter identification. Now what might be a little confusing is that you said, Jeff, hey, you've ordered the bars from least to greatest, from least gain to most gain, and we're still ordering it by the least amount of OS total score gain to the most amount of OS total score gain. So this way, as you change charts, whatever order the schools appear here on the chart, they always appear in the same order no matter which chart they went to. Just keep in mind that they're ordered from the least amount of OS total score gain to the most amount of OS total score gain. So this way you can drill down and see, if schools are particularly effective in one task or not, or maybe we have a kindergarten program that's underperforming in some way and isn't preparing the kids. So I think this report can give some great insights and help start some wonderful conversations. Now, one thing I just do want to say here, and let me switch back to the OS total score, is that please remember to not use the OS total score to select students in the fall or as criteria to end a student intervention. Once again, we're just using it here to help start a conversation. Why this school is making such a huge amount of gain as compared to maybe a school over here where it's just starting below the average, but it's not making as much gain, to help start that conversation. All right, let me move back to our slides here. So let's talk briefly about passwords. Remember, teacher leaders, you can reset all of your existing teachers' passwords at one time if you want to. By going to the Administration tab and then clicking on the Teachers tab and then clicking on this Reset All Teachers Passwords. Doing that will send a secure message which appears under the Messages tab, which is very close or right next to that Teachers tab, and it will list all of the teachers, existing teachers that a password was reset for. And it'll show their teacher ID. It's blurred out here for security reasons in this video, and their password, and you can print this off and then have a master roster that's ready to go at your first continuing contact session. So ladies and gentlemen, that's it for our IDEC update video for the 2016-17 school year, and we wish everybody a wonderful and fun and productive school year, and we are looking for another exciting I Love Data year here at IDEC. So thank you for watching this video.